Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 708 of the DrunkNerds Podcast. I'm host, as always. I'm Tyler. And join me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, I am feeling rather, what's the word for it? Oh yeah, I'm just feeling rather relaxed at this moment in time because just got off of work a few hours ago, had dinner, excellent dinner. Then I was actually playing a little bit of Pokemon Red and stuff like that before recording and stuff because, well, hell, I just felt like I wanted to try to finish up this, see if I could try to finish up this game sometime this weekend. But yeah, man, it's just been sort of like the norm as usual, just working, trying to fit any type of game type stuff. But other than that, though, yeah, how have you been doing?
I'm doing all right, clanging and banging as always. Not too excited with me. Just another week here in Iowa, where it's February in Iowa, so the weather's all over the place. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Just trying to make the best of it as I can, all that. But another week applying for jobs. Don't recommend it. I've found one job that they have posted the same job and taken it down. Uh, this is the third time in the last 2 months. So I'm like, okay, what are we doing here?
Huh.
Yeah. So I'm at the point where I've lost track on like the jobs I've been applying for. I'm like, how many? I feel like I've seen this job 15 times already. So that's where I'm at. I just feel like every day is like a cycle of spend a couple hours applying for jobs, wake up in the morning, check the email, get a dozen deny emails being denied. Um, it's like Tinder, but it hurts all the same. But anyways, it's just well, you swipe. I've been swiping right on a lot of things, and no one's swiping right on me, unfortunately. Job wise. But anyways, yeah, I'm all right. Just clanging and banging, is just trying to keep my head up here a little bit. It'd be nice if it got nice out again, though. I liked it better when it was nice outside, and I can take the dog for a nice WALK a couple times a day and go out there and just sun was out, and I'm like, oh, this just feels good. Have the windows open and enjoy the sunlight a little bit. But it's cold and got a bunch of snow and all that. But anyways, it's been a week. I'm drinking a beer here though. Feels pretty good. I went to go grab a beer, and I have like my two little things here. I have one that's a Coke Zeros, and I have one that's my beers. But they're the exact same. They're both like the same exact identical color of red. Um, and the other day I went to go grab a Coke, and it was like a Coke Zero. Like it was like 11:30 in the morning, and I went and sat down on the couch and cracked it open. It was a beer, so I had to drink a beer like 11:30 in the morning. It was like I'm like I got this is where we're at. My unemployment is just I'm drinking in the morning now. But yeah, usually I
Now
don't.
you're just having a Russian roulette of like whatever drink that's the same can color in your damn refrigerator.
Yeah, I've kind of like made it a little more. I try to make it a little more divided, but I was it was like half paying attention. So but yeah, so I drink a beer. And I ended up taking it. I was like, I took a nap. So that's what happened to me. But not the worst, I guess. Could have been worse. I've done it a couple times, right? I used to a couple times on a couple occasions. I went to go grab my before work in the morning. I'd go grab my my Monster out of the fridge, and a couple times like I think it was just like instinctively I would just grab the beer because like I'm going to work. I'm like I need a beer for work. But luckily I never actually brought a beer to work. But there's a couple close calls where I'm like, wait a second. But yeah, anyways, this is the Drunk Nerds Podcast. Every week Gables and I get together and talk about video games and everything we love about them. We're just two guys. We do this for fun. Gables is a full-time job. I used to have a full-time job. If you're hiring, let me know, please. For the love of God, hit me. Send a message. Send me a DM. But anyways, like I said, we just do this for fun. We've been doing this for almost 13 years now, which is crazy to think. But yeah, if you guys like the show like we're doing, please support us. Like I said, we don't make money off of this. We just do it because we love video games. So like, follow, subscribe. Check us out on every podcast service. Drunk Nerds, Drunk Nerds. You'll find us. Also over on YouTube is probably the best place to check us out. Give us a like, thumbs up, whatever you want to call it. Click the bell if you want to. I don't click the bells, but if you want to click the bell, I'd greatly appreciate it. But also subscribe. That'd be great. And leave a comment. Helps us out with the algorithm. And shares as well. There's links down below as well if you want all that to make it easier for yourself. But anyways, Gables, I was like, man, I was thinking, I'm like, this is a perfect week, like an easy week for putting show notes together. I don't do anything. It's just like, we're just gonna talk about, we're gonna make predictions for Pokemon 30th anniversary next week. Like that's gonna be the whole podcast. I'm like, easy peasy. It might be a couple smaller things, but that's it. And then bam, Thursday happened. Then bam, Friday happened. So we're actually going to do a separate podcast all about the Pokemon presentation. That'll be going up a little bit later for us. I'll probably post that Wednesday morning, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. It depends on when the Resident Evil Requiem, what I'm trying to think of, reviews drop, because I don't want to get lost in all that. But we'll be posting that sometime, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. They'll be going up, like I said, on all podcast feeds. But then Friday morning, I will be doing a live react to that Pokemon Day Direct. So if you guys want to check this out, more reason to subscribe, help us out there. We're getting close to 600 subscribers, so we'd be really appreciative. But anyways, Gables, back to what I was saying. I was like, man, give me easy peasy week here. It's gonna be a fun week, because we love video games. We just want to have fun, and we've had a couple of fun weeks. We've had some directs, some state of plays. We've had some fantasy cricket drafts. We've had some Xbox developer directs. It's been a pretty fun couple months so far. Not too crazy. Well then, Gables, everything hit the fan the last 48 hours for us. We're recording this on Saturday night. But Gables, we did have kind of like the drop Thursday afternoon. PlayStation announced that they are closing down Bluepoint. So just back up here, Bluepoint, they've been around for 20 plus years now. Done a lot of work, mostly in remasters and remakes, mostly with PlayStation. They put out Demon's Souls as a PS5 launch title, and then shortly after, PlayStation did buy them. In that time, they were working on we found out last January they canceled a God of War live service game. And then announced on Thursday they were closing them down. About 70 people were being laid off. So obviously, best of luck to those people out there being affected by that. But Gables, when all this happened, what was your initial reaction to all this?
Well, really much of a surprise, like anyone else inside the gaming industry, because of all the studios you would think that Sony would try to shut down on its own initial thing. Bluepoint was one of the last ones because of how successful they were in terms of not just the port jobs that they've done for previous games, like say for the Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, actually more like Eco, I would say. Yeah, Eco and Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, they did for PS3, yeah.
And obviously for Demon's Souls and stuff at the start of the launch, and that ended up being their last major contributing factor and stuff for PlayStation back before they had to work on that God of War live service game that never panned out, which is once again another just bumbled misfire and stuff from the Jim Ryan administration there for fucking PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because at this moment in time, what it just feels like to me with Bluepoint, one of these predominant studios that had a lot of success, had a lot of things and stuff, just got really mismanaged towards this tail end because of this forced emphasis on live service stuff. This has had so much of a trickle effect that it's not just affected Bluepoint Studios, but other studios as well. And quite honestly, it's fairly sad. I mean, I didn't want to see the studio close down, and I'm sure a lot of gamers didn't want to either, because we were kind of clamoring to, maybe they could do a Bloodborne thing. Maybe they can do this or that, I mean, they have the talent, they have the drive, they have the passion. These are the types of developers that you want on your initial team and stuff, because these ones will go that extra mile in order to incorporate just the finest detail inside of this stuff. I had the pleasure to play through the entirety of that Shadow of the Colossus port that they did for the PS4, right?
Oh, the remake.
And that was the first game that remake. That was the first game I played on the PS4 Pro, and I was absolutely blown away by not only how well that game looked, but the fluidity of it almost confused my brain to the point I'm like, what the fuck? What? It's like, oh god, is this real life? What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Well, just point being though, it obviously is a sad moment for PlayStation, and quite honestly, it's like I was just saying before, it's just another chapter in this misfire that they did under the Jim Ryan administration, with that forced emphasis on live service games and less on single player driven experiences, because now they're having to backtrack and go and do things like trying to pivot back and somehow try to get back to what made their try to make their studios just make
what PlayStation
more,
was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Trying to get back to what PlayStation was to begin with, and that was strong single player narrative games, not just narrative games, just fun games in general.
Mm.
I mean, for God's sakes, that's why we're getting the remasters here of like the first three God of War games and stuff, and then obviously with Soros and stuff like that, another thing by Housemark and stuff. We're seeing much more now of a re-emphasis and stuff because with all the other various live service games that Sony has went through an initiative, only maybe like what one out of the initial few that they've actually unveiled have been successful.
Yeah.
You know, Helldivers 2.
Yeah. Most haven't actually ever seen the light of day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly the point.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like that Horizon live service game may not have some form of success. I mean, it's too early for me to see, but it's definitely not in a good pattern of what has came out in terms of these types of live service games, you know. I know that Concord, like Highguard, all these other types of live service games and stuff, it really felt like from the initial unveils and stuff for those games that they felt like they were kind of dead on arrival because of a lot of the reception from gamers and a lot of receptions from like various like people throughout the games industry. But yeah, man, it's just another fact that we've known now for a while is that live service games are an incredible gamble. They're an incredible big investment. And if you don't hit on that initial investment from the get-go, you're pretty much DOA.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating and it's sad just because it's like this one's really maddening because it's just like you buy the studio that has had decades of success of putting out a certain style of games, remakes, and like, but remaking old great games and but making them better, you know, and like doing
Yeah.
just great job, like with Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls, you know, like they're not like in these remasters, like I mean, it's crazy. Like I was like kind of looking back at like what they've done. And it's like I pretty much like I've touched like all these games. Like I'm currently going through the God of War collection now, with the streaming the PS3 games that they made. The Eco and Shadow did the remasters to PS3. They did the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection from PS3 to PS4. They did the Metal Gear Solid collection of 2 and 3 to 360 and PS3
Vita.
And Vita as well. Yeah, they did the Gravity Rush remaster. They like I have pretty much played all of these games and beaten pretty much all of these games except for Gravity Rush and Demon Souls. Just because I'm not a Demon Souls guy and I'm not a Gravity Rush person, but everything else I played and played through. It's just it's sad. It's just and it's so easily avoidable. And like you would think of like all the studios you'd want to have like in gaming, like and nowadays where like you look at like remasters and remakes are so popular right now. And like I know a lot of people complain and get frustrated about like oh there's so many remasters now, so many remakes nowadays. I can understand to a certain extent, but a lot of people like a lot of times you look at it's like people bitch about a remake or a remaster about this one because they don't care about it. But then as soon as something they care about gets that remaster remake, they're super excited for it. And so it's like a little bit of it's like hypocrisy here where it's like we don't want it, but as soon as like it's something you want, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna buy it. So it is definitely but it's also this at the same point the reason why they're happening so much is because people buy them. They're cheaper to make and they're quicker to make. And a lot of people talk about it is a great like remastering their older games or like doing like remakes, like softer remakes of their games is a great way to like keep their other talent busy while they're doing something else, or like it's good onboarding to like before like give them training as they go on to the next big thing. So like, but to have the studio that is probably the best at it and you bring them in to make a God of War live service game, which I love God of War, like I really do. I don't want that. Like like who wants that? Like I don't like it. Like it should have been canceled, but the fact it was even made to begin with is idiotic to me. It's like you said, like we are seeing like the last couple of years we are seeing the effects of Jim Ryan, and like he retired when he did, and people, the general census was like he's getting out now because he knows like the Piper like the bills coming due where like a lot of stuff that was in place before he got there or like that was being greenlit right around the time he took over, like that stuff is now coming out, and the stuff that he is greenlit is now starting to become that's like the next era, and he's getting out before his shit that he greenlit is coming out. And like now the new Herman Holst and the new people, they're paying the price for that. And it's just like you it's like you have the first pick in the NFL draft. There's this can't miss quarterback prospect. It's like he's gonna come in guaranteed. He's gonna be the face of your franchise for 10 years. You draft him like, hey, we're gonna have you play safety, and it's like that. It's same sport, different position, and it's like I think that like I've said that. I mean, this isn't like hindsight. This was stuff that has been said for years, and we're not the only people. Like a lot of people have felt this way, and it's like I've said over and over again. Like if you're a big studio that's able to, you have the money, you have the backing, you're able to take risk. Take those, like having 2-3 studios making a live service thing, that makes sense. It'd be bad business not to try. You know, like that. Like I understand, like the one try. But the problem was like they literally had every single studio working on this. Where a lot of these studios is not like that's not what they do. Like we talk about like the last 15 years or so of PlayStation, going back to like really the PS, like that second half of the PS3 era to like 2022 or so, was like they built the empire on great single player games, and there were some. They definitely made attempts at, you know, there's like the Starhawk and stuff like that, Twisted Metal. Like there was attempts in that timeline. There wasn't like there was zero. Kill Zones, like they tried like really hard to like make that like their next Call of Duty type of thing. But there was also like great single player things in there. And like I said, like trying out, like getting a Firewalk, getting a Fire Sprite, whatever, like not Fire Sprite, but Firewalk, stuff like that, hiring these studios, buying Haven, and taking these attempts. I don't blame it. Like that's, like I said, you are able to take those risks, and it is not like gonna kill you if it fails. And if it hits, yeah, it's gigantic. But to make every studio do it, Naughty Dog's making a Last of Us live service game. I love Last of Us. It's one of my all-time favorite franchises in anything. I don't want that. Like I don't want that. God of War, like I said, nobody really wants that. And like how is that gonna work? How are they gonna make this thing long term? How are they gonna monetize that? Like, it's baffling. It is so baffling, and it pisses me off more that like these companies, like when they take these risks. If you're a smaller company and it misses, like a High Guard, it missed, you know, and it sucks. There's gonna be they're a smaller studio. I think it's kind of bullshit that they put a game out and then 2 weeks later they have to lay off most of their staff. That tells me that like if you're laying off your most staff after 2 weeks, that tells me you were probably gonna lay, even if that game was pulling Fortnite numbers, you were probably gonna have to lay them off anyways because you didn't have the runway to keep going unless that thing, like it had to be the most massive thing in the world. Like that game was fucked, regardless if it was moderately successful or it just, you know, it bombed. But when you bring when you make these studios, like you put it in a plan, you put in an initiative. Hey, this is what you're doing, you know, and like, you know, your idea doesn't come together. Meaning the management doesn't come together. You should stand by your employees. And it pisses me off that like, hey, this initiative, it didn't work. It's not working. It's like we gotta change. And like, okay, cool, change. And they don't. But like, okay, that didn't work. Instead of, all right, figure something out, go back to what you do, go back to what you know, we're just getting rid of you. It's like, you wasted years of these people's lives, especially like, you know, it's like the most important thing about these people, about games coming out, is like these people, like they're able to put it on their resume and prove, hey, this is what I did. Like my name is in the credits. And it's like, you're looking at nowadays, there's going to be this whole, like the last 5-6 years, this whole generation, like of like all these people that have worked on, probably been at multiple studios. They're never put a game on, but they've been working like crazy. They probably worked on multiple different games, but they'll never be able to prove it or say, because they're probably under NDAs, so they can't talk about what they've done for, you know, for 5, 6, 7 years. And it's like, it's just gone. Like they have no way to like prove what they've done. They can't say what they did, and it sucks. It's just like, you know, like you imagine Gables, like the job you worked at, like you left. It's like, cool, you can never say you worked here, or you can say, but you can't say what you did. Like great, I just have this massive gap of like, I can't prove that I did this job. I can't prove I did this work. And that's what sucks. It's just frustrating. And it's like, what? It's 70, and it's only 70 people. This isn't like some massive studio with 300 people at it. Like 70 people in Texas. Like, I get it. Like, you know, hey, they probably make a decent amount of money, but it's like they make remakes and remasters. Those are the cheapest, quickest games to put out. They could have. This is a fit. Like there's no argument about it. Like this is a failure of leadership. That you have a studio that has been around for 20 years of making great remakes and remasters, and you've owned them for over 5 years, and they didn't put a single game out when they've been pumping out games like crazy over the last 15 years. Like I said, we just named off like 8 or 9. Like I know the remastered remakes, but they pumped out like a dozen games over the last 15 years. You had them for 5 years, and they have nothing, nothing done. That's on them. After 5 years, they're just
Yep.
they're not even working on a project. The last year they weren't even like they couldn't get anything proven. They couldn't get anything done. And you would think, Gables, they just announced last fucking week they're doing a remake of God of War trilogy. You would think they're either working on it or they're either like support studio on it or they're the ones doing it. And then like now you're telling me like I love Santa Monica. I want more from whatever it is, whether it's a new IP, whether it's more God of War. And it's like you're telling me like the God of War, the main team is gonna be spending the next 3-4 years possibly working on a God of War remake. Like that's not what I want from them. I want them making new things and like making, like I said, new IPs, like sequels to God of War. And it's like it's frustrating. And like don't even like like the finding out about like I was a massive fan of the Horizon series, like you said, Gables, like Hunter's Gathering or whatever the fuck it's called. Like I'm like, okay, whatever, it's a side thing. Like when you first told me about it, like you told me about it first, and I was like, okay, like this looks like a side thing. It's probably like a side team. No, this is the main fucking team that's working on. It's been 4 years since Horizon 2. They left it on a fucking cliffhanger. And it's like how many like are they even like is like where's Horizon 3 at? I'm sure someone's working on it. There's people, probably a small team. It's probably in early development, but like is that game coming out in the 2020s? Like I don't know. It's baffling. There's a huge problem in gaming, and it starts at the top. It's just it's so frustrating, Gables, to see this. And like I said, I feel awful. It's like I feel awful for those people because like they were just doing their jobs, trying to do the best they can, and then some people's like, well, we can make the stock go up for a little bit here, and it's like I'll never understand letting go proven teams that have done great jobs, especially like working for you on like on a contract basis. When you are when your main thing is putting out video games, and your best thinking is like, you know what, we're gonna let go of the studio, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make less video games. It's so short sighted.
I know, right?
It's like it's a like, hey, we're gonna like look good for on the books for 6 months, but 3 years from now when we don't have a game coming out, like, or we have a massive gap in games, like, well, why is that? It was like, well, we closed like 4 studios over the last 5 years. That's why. Because we laid off all the other teams, and then the other teams, they wasted 5 years making live service games that either didn't come out or bombed. So it's like, cool. It's like, great. I don't know.
And then you wonder why we get a whole bunch of remasters and like ports and stuff of like classic games and stuff. It's because of sometimes the failure of leadership that diverts the attention to like main studios at hand.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anything else you want to say before we move on to something else here?
Nah, I'm pretty good.
All right. Well, moving on to some more bad news, Gables. So Xbox, Microsoft.
This is like 24 hours with each other.
Yeah. Both Thursday afternoon, I pull up YouTube and I just see like multiple thumbnails of like Bluepoint closed. I'm like, what? I like audibly like jumped up and like got off my couch. And then Friday afternoon, same exact thing, got up. Phil Spencer retires. Sarah Bond out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? It's like, I bet if like, I wonder if PlayStation in hindsight, if they knew, they would have like dropped the Bluepoint news, like wait until Friday afternoon to drop that news because it quickly would have got covered up. But anyways, so Microsoft announced some major changes. Phil Spencer retiring. Hey, you know what? It's been a good run. I'm retiring on Monday. In the middle of our 25th anniversary of Xbox. And I've been here since the beginning. I've been here for 38 years. You know what? I'm gonna retire just a Monday in February. Sarah Bond announced she's resigning. Asha Sharma, I believe is her name. I want to make sure I'm getting there. I do apologize if I am. Yeah, Asha Sharma, I believe is how you say that. I apologize if I'm getting her name wrong. But she will be taking over as the CEO of Xbox. Matt Booty is getting promoted. Basically, he's like taking second command, it looks like here. But I mean, Gables the classic Friday at 5 Eastern time news dump that is never usually right around 5 o'clock Eastern is when the stock market closes down for the weekend. And that is a very popular time where major companies like to drop big news because it won't affect the stock. The stock won't take a major dive. So that's typically what that is. And that's kind of what happened here. So, I mean, Gables, initial reactions when you heard all this news.
Well, obviously fairly shocked when I got the message. When I got the message from you over Discord and stuff like that, I'm like, wait, seriously, this happened? And I had to look for myself. I was like, oh crap, this is like a major like this is a major like friggin' like a red alarm or something like that, like code red type of like news bulletin right here because obviously when it comes to Phil Spencer, he's been around Microsoft and stuff since around '88 and stuff. So we've seen a lot of various things evolve inside of that company. But he was mainly responsible for the Xbox division and stuff, taking over for Don Matrick when he went through and stumbled with the Xbox One and the botch of the fucking, and that was probably the catalyst that kind of led to like kind of the subtle like decline of like Xbox in general from the
Yeah,
successful 360 era to what we now are at currently. But yeah, Phil Spencer was definitely the bright spot because not only was he's more focused upon, it seemed like from the offset he was more focused on putting gamers first in some aspects of some of the projects, although obviously it was kind of like hit and miss in some aspects
yeah.
too. You definitely Game Pass came out as a result of a lot of this different stuff, which yeah, it was one of the best deals in gaming. It for a lot of people it still is kind of like the best deal in gaming because they go
It's a
through
good
and
deal in
like
gaming
and
now.
yeah, it's more like a good deal and it's not the best, but at the same time if you wanted some quick games or something you want to play for the month or something, okay, here pay $30 or something like that. Here you can have this and stuff for whichever. But this is pretty much a substantial loss here for the Xbox division here, because not only do you have the lead person that's been in charge ever since, like, say, ironically enough, 2013,
He's
2014, or something like
he's been
that.
with
But the
Xbox since the beginning.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know, but I'm just saying more so, like, just for Xbox in general,
yeah.
he's been at that head position and stuff like that for a number of years and stuff, and so to lose his type of leadership and everything else and stuff, on top of that Sarah Bond resigning is kind of like a weird thing to actually go through and do, like as well. Like I'm not too understanding of of the situation regarding that, whether there was some sort of falling out in terms of some aspects of this. But obviously all that stuff is sad and stuff, and obviously Matt Booty got promoted to like some position or something like that for AI or
Like,
some shit.
no, he's like the CCO of Xbox now. He's basically
The
taking like the
CCO.
he's kind of like what Sarah Bond was before, like the second in command. It sounds like he's gonna like kind of be like the person that kind of he's basically gonna be training Asha on the job. I imagine he's probably gonna be doing a lot of like the grunt work and a lot of the actual like touching base with like studios and stuff like that.
I'm kind of concerned though with this new leader here for the Xbox division and stuff for like Asha and stuff because even coming into this, she doesn't seem like she has that kind of focus like in terms of her audience, in terms of like gamers in general. She was working previously inside like I think it was the AI division or something
She
in
ran like
terms of
the
that
core AI.
aspect.
Yeah, that was her job. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the core AI stuff. What's kind of funny is there were some things kind of making the rounds and stuff of like because people are kind of curious as well. Okay, does she have a gamer tag or something like that? And this was actually kind of circulating over the past like day and a half or so, where she basically started in January, and there was like mostly walking simulators that she had going through that she played,
At
but
least she
like little
plays games.
tidbits here and there from
Yeah. Okay.
stuff.
That's cool. All right. It's something.
Yeah, at least she plays games, but at the same time, this is a gigantic like very much cautionary thing right now for if you're a major Xbox fan because you're not too sure what the direction's going to be going into with in terms of Xbox going forward because it really feels like they're sort of kind of like consolidating stuff like more of Microsoft is taking over the entirety of the games division itself and not so much like how it was before where you basically they just like designated a lot of stuff with Phil Spencer and his crew and stuff, and they focused upon initial game stuff and development. But when I think about that, the biggest thing to happen out of that over the recent years is obviously the misfire of Redfall. That must have contributed to some aspect of it because that was pretty much a large sum of investment that was put into that project.
Yeah.
Then ended up like becoming a huge failure in terms of the part because of how much that game was to develop, but actually being delayed multiple times, and they still was not able to go and get that thing off the ground to be successful. So that's probably part of the reason leading up to his eventual like resignation, not his retirement and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's pretty sad because you had a predominant figure that was well liked inside the Xbox community and like and fans as well. But at this moment in time, though, I just can't help but feel kind of like concerned because Xbox kind of feels like it's sort of like just shrinking further into the thing, becoming less about gamers and more so about just the corporate Microsoft stuff and the AI bubble that they've eventually got themselves all logged into.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's just sad that like, we're 38 years like with the company, literally worked like I think it's kind of a cool story of like literally was an intern, worked his way up, was a huge fan like PC gamer back in like he was a big gamer going in and then like the 90s and like I think like and he knew the jargon, he knew how to talk to people. It's like like and he was an actual gamer and like people like his gamer tag was out there and people would like people can watch and see what he's playing, and like there's like funny stories of like people would like he's like playing Fallout 76, people would go to his camp and like nuke it and stuff like that. Like there was always funny stories with that. And so, or like you'd hear like stories and like meetings he was having with like going to studios and like he'd play their games while they're still like, an alpha state or beta state. And there would be like people would get upset with him in the meeting because he wouldn't stop playing the game because he was having too much fun. So like there is that. And like he would actually go on, like he would do interviews with on video game podcasts. He would talk to content creators. And it was like, honestly, it was like kind of hard. Like, like he's an executive like, people don't like him for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of an Xbox thing or what, but some people just don't like him. I don't know why. But I was like, he just looked like he seemed like an actual person, someone actually like cared. And like you would like, it was kind of like heartwarming. Like he's like getting his flowers right now. And like you reading a lot of stories of like when people got like laid off, he would like personally reach out to people that were like lost their jobs, people that like, there's a lot of people that are talking about like when I got let go from my job, he was the first person that got a hold of me, or like I was not like a couple people that had like illnesses and they were in the hospital, like he reached out to them, it's like little things like that. And it's like it's kind of cool, like hey, he like people like you wouldn't call him best friend, you wouldn't call him like but it's like the fact that like he cared and would reach out, that I think that means something to people. And like the fact that like when you see so many times like and it's just like a lot of corporate word salad and jargon of like you read like full on emails or messages and it's just like it's just nothing. It all means nothing. But like, or like when things go bad, they like turtle up and they don't want to talk. But it's like you look at like I remember when like they had like Halo Infinite was supposed to be the launch game of the Xbox Series X and S, and they had delayed a whole year. And literally the day before, like he had already planned to go on an Animal Crossing talk show with Gary Whitta, and the day before that, they announced the delay of a year, and he went on an Animal Crossing fucking talk show to talk about the fact that they delayed Halo. And he ate crow, and I'll appreciate that. As like when if you're like in leadership, if you see someone like, hey, I'll take the blame for it, I'll take the hit for it. Like I've had managers that like they will throw you under the bus. I've had managers that like that will back you, even if maybe you were partially responsible for it, or like, but like hey, like we talk about with Bluepoint. It's like when it's a failure of leadership and like it's just but like leadership lets you down, and then you're the ones that get the boot in the ass for it. That sucks. And it's just like it was nice to see like, hey, like you go out and like, oh, hey, that's on me. We fucked up. And like same thing. Like there was I can't remember what it was. There was like a massive announcement. I think I can't remember what it was, but I remember he went on the Kind of Funny XCast show the very next day. And it was when Redfall. It was the same week Redfall came out. And they like and all
Isn't that kind of ironic though that there was like that's like two situations that we can think of to where he's planning on going to some sort of a talk show or whatever, and all of a sudden a major thing happens just before then.
Yeah.
Because I watched that interview. You and I actually watched that interview that Phil Spencer had on the Kind of Funny XCast and stuff, I think it was at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Redfall came out and it was just a dumpster fire and stuff. And it literally looked like he was just physically just fucking exhausted.
Yeah. But like, I mean, like I said, props to him for going, like, I know the bars on the floor sometimes with executives, but the fact, like, most people would just like, yeah, we're canceling or we're not, and it's like, he came out there and he ate the crow. He's the face, when you're the face of the franchise, you're the face of like the brand. Like that's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be hiding. And I'll like I said, bars on the floor sometimes for executives, but like that, if I was an employee for him, like that would mean a lot to me, you know. As like, I want, like, and you hear like you don't really hear like people internally, you don't really like, it's always been pretty positive about him, you know, and it's like, so it sucks. It's just like, and there's been rumors for about a year now that this year, maybe he wouldn't retire this year, but he was going to announce his time there. And like, kind of like this is the 25th anniversary. He's been there since the beginning. And he's like, hey, I'm retiring. It's been pretty obvious that Sarah Bond was like kind of like the waiting in the wings to take the kind of be the succession plan for him. And she's been put like a lot more in front of things. And like, we see her a lot more of the Summer Game Fest shows of like, she's up there as well, talking a lot, just as much, if not more than Phil Spencer is. And to hear a lot of the same things where people really like her. She comes off as a genuine person, and like she gets along well. Same thing, like she knows how to talk to people, and it's like, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it just sucks too. Like it is like the end of like kind of like this era of like these like it's just, I mean, in general, just like in video games, where like we used to know like a lot of like some of the most important people in gaming. We would know what they looked like. We knew their names, like like all the way going back to like, I mean, in the 80s and 90s, and it's just like there's so few and far between anymore now. It's like there's only a handful, and like you look at like Nintendo and PlayStation, like really since like Sean Layden, oddly enough, Sean Layden, they announced on a Friday afternoon he's gone. Jim Ryan's taken over, and it's like we never really got the full story about what happened there, but it's like all of a sudden Jim Ryan's in charge in 2020, and it's like it's kind of the same thing here, where it's like but it just sucks. We look at like Iwata passed away, Reggie retired, and like Nintendo is just like this. It's just a corporation, you know. It kind of feels a little soulless at my point. Like PlayStation, same thing. I mean, I've been talking about like I've said this for years. Like I like Phil Spencer. Seems like a genuine dude. Hear a lot of nice things about him, and it's just it's just nice. Like we see the face out there. We know the person, and it's like like I said, and also like I said, when they fuck up, they're willing to go out there and eat the crow for it. And it's just like when Bluepoint fails, it's just a fucking email that whatever. But yeah, I mean, the assumption is like I said, it seems like he was planning on retiring. So, and like, I think the general feeling was that like, do Summer Game Fest, that'd probably be the last show. Like as far as like publicly, there'll probably be like some sort of like Xbox podcasting, where he talks about like, hey, this is the plan, this is what's happening. Sarah Bond's taking over, Matt Boogie's gonna step up, blah blah blah, and there's gonna be like a handoff there, like kind of just kind of like a nice changing of power, and really set it up, and it'd be like kind of like a months long thing where it's like Jim Ryan retired, and like we knew like 9 months out he was gone, and I feel like that was probably gonna be the case here, where it's like they're gonna like go out eventually, and the fact that like I said he's just gone on a Friday, tells me either like something massive, like Microsoft came in and it's like, hey, this is what we're doing, things are changing, and he's like, well, fuck that, I'm out, or they're like, hey, you're done, we're gonna let you retire to like save face. And I would bet that either like Sarah Bond probably, I mean, obviously we'll probably never actually fully know what happened here, but like my guess is either she found out she's not getting the job that she's been being groomed for the last several years, or she's like, well, that plan sucks, I'm out as well, because like literally 3 hours before the announcement she was on LinkedIn posting about stuff for Xbox. So it's like, this, you're not posting shit about.
Interesting.
Yeah, like you're not posting something at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, and then like about the job stuff for the future, and then 3 hours later, hey, I'm out. Like, and also like announcing it on a Friday, with no, like, I don't know. It's like I said, like if I'm working at Xbox right now, I bet a lot of people are pretty devastated and also scared, because like this person is going to be coming in, and one of the first things Asha says is like, I gotta learn what my job is here. Like she's literally gonna be learning on the fly. So it's gonna be a lot of like coming in, and she's gonna be like, it's gonna be like, and like, look, here's the thing, I have no ill will against her. I'm not rooting against her, and that'd be idiotic. Like I don't root against a video game. I'm not gonna root against a company, because like that's just bad. Like if I'm never gonna be one, because I don't want, like, even if it's a game I don't care about or a studio I don't play their games for, it's like more good games come out, it's only good for the industry. It's only good. It's good for it's just good. More jobs, people getting paid to work, and also there's more good games out there. More the better is better. And so if Asha comes in and she does an awesome job, that means Xbox is probably in a good spot. Then there's probably good games coming out. There's probably these studios are in good spots. Less layoffs, hopefully. Which I mean, even companies do well, they still lay people off. Doesn't even matter. But like, it just means that like if she comes in, she does a good job. That means Xbox is in a better spot. And that'd be great. But it doesn't feel great right now because like the one thing she talks about, it sounds like they just kind of like, hey, Friday afternoon, hey, this is your job now. Good luck. You know, I think Phil and Sarah like they were like we're gonna be on like an advisory role through like the summer for her to like kind of help probably with like teaching her and stuff like that. But like it sounds like she was put in a shitty spot here of like, cool, well this is your job, this is what you're doing. You don't know anything about it, but it's gonna be a lot of things of like she's gonna be going if I'm like a team and she's coming, I'm scared. I'm shitting my pants because it's gonna be a lot of like, so what exactly do you do here? And like you're gonna be like proving yourself to somebody that doesn't really understand what you do, and that's scary. And like I've been there before, where it's like people come in at jobs.
I have too.
Yeah, it's not a fun feeling. I'm sure most people have been there, where like these people come in, it's like, so what exactly do you do here? But it's like they knew nothing about you. They know what you do, who you are, but they are the person that like decides whether or not you have a job tomorrow. So it's like it's scary, but people like want to bitch about like what Phil Spencer and like how effectively how was he over like took over, you know, like I think it was like 2015 he officially took over, 2014ish. But I mean, I feel like look, it's been obviously been a rough decade for them, but like you said, Gables, going into the Xbox One with the TV thing with Don Matrick and all that, obviously like the famous 2013 press conference they did. I mean, they lost that generation that day. You know, it's like there was no games.
Yep.
They pivoted to everything being, you know, like kind of more of like kind of that Wii era of like we want to make things as easy as as possible to get into. Like Fable 3 was like felt like I remember playing Fable 3. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Xbox? Because it was just like this easy pick up and play game for like non-gamers. And like, you know, they came in, it was more $100 more. It came with Kinect. First thing Phil did when he took over, got rid of the Kinect and dropped the price. You know, and it made it more affordable. It came in at a more competitive price. And he spent like the problem was though is that he talked about is like they lost the most important generation to lose to PlayStation because that was the era where digital took over. And it's like people like are committed to their digital library, and they like it's hard to come back from that. And he spent basically like, and I said it at the time, like I said this years ago. This isn't like hindsight, but like I'm like this is gonna take years because like they got to pivot all these like franchises. They lost a lot of studios. They dumped they closed a bunch of studios. Like, you know, they fucked up a lot of things. A lot of key talent has left, and it's like they got to rebuild. And I don't know how effective it was. Obviously, like they bought a lot of studios in like 2018, 2019. They bought more obviously with Bethesda later on, you know, but they bought obviously Activision. But it's like I just look at that like when the first thing he did was like, hey, we're listening to the gamers. We're gonna make this thing competitively more, and like, hey, and also we know you don't like to connect. Think about like this beginning of this generation. They put out an Xbox Series S for $300 because the key, like we just want you in the ecosystem. We want you playing Game Pass. And that's something I said for a long time was like, we both bought Series S's at first because like, and even like now, like Xbox is primarily my Game Pass machine, and like that was what they cared about. We're pushing Game Pass, and people want to say, hey, you know, like it's a failure. Game Pass sucks. I think it's weird from a consumer standpoint, like how people hate on Game Pass. I understand, like, look, not every service is for everybody. Some people look at the price of Netflix like that's too much. Some people's like, that's all I watch. So to everybody's like, I like Game Pass, yeah, $30, a lot harder to swallow, but you can still get like most places still sell you can still get $60 for 3 months today. So like it's easily an option or wait for a sale like I do. It's not that hard honestly to do. But like I thought like I was actually a big fan of Game Pass. I thought it was perfect. $10 a month, $15 a month, whatever it was. Like at that time it was like, hey, we're buying all these studios. We're gonna make a lot of smaller games and we can get out quicker. And we're also gonna make big AAA games that are all coming to Game Pass day one. And they bought all those studios like Obsidian and all those to come in, Double Fine to come in, Ninja Theory to come in and like, hey, they're gonna put out some smaller games and we're gonna have bigger games and we're gonna put it out. We're gonna try to have one game a quarter. Some smaller like stuff like Grounded, and some bigger games like, you know, like Gears of War and stuff will be there and all that. And then somewhere along, you know, Netflix, everything changed. Netflix had one bad quarter in like 2021 where hey, we're gonna pump out, we're gonna put as much product as possible. We're gonna make subscriptions affordable. They had one bad quarter and it literally changed in subscription services as we know it completely over the last 5 years. And we see all these companies that like basically quit what they did to make subscription services, and everything changed. And it went from like, all right, cool, we're making smaller games and bigger games. We just want as many people in here. We're gonna put it. And also have like a lot of great indie games, a lot of great AA games, AAA games, all that coming to this purchase. And then also on top of that, they bought Activision. And I think Activision, when they bought them, that was like, wait, what the fuck's going on over here? What are we doing? We're charging $15 a month for we just spent $70 billion on Call of Duty. We're not doing that anymore. We're not gonna like $15. No, we're not doing that. We're gonna have you fucking we want to make big bucks on this thing. We don't want what is it? What is this game here? Fucking Hellblade 2. What was it? We don't want that. We want Call of Duties. We want big games. We want it to. It's like live service shit, like we talk about. People they don't want to put out. They don't want doubles and singles. They want home runs. That's all they care about. And we have seen like really, I think Game Pass is taking a lot of hits because of the fact that now we're paying the Call of Duty tax. The price has gone up massively over the last couple of years. Went from like $15 to $18 to $20 to $30. And we keep joking it's the Call of Duty tax. And I think that changed everything. And on top of that, Microsoft came in. It's like, hey, we want a 30% return, return on value on everything we do. From every game needs whatever we do needs to be. We need a 30% return on that in profit, which is double the 15% is usually the going rate for to be considered a success for a video game or for a service. They're doubling it for whatever reason, but also they built this entire Xbox around a subscription service. We don't buy the game; you just pay monthly to have the game. And now we're selling less actual individual copies of the game because we have the service. We built everything for 5 years around the service, and now you want us to somehow sell more games when we have a service that goes completely against that. And then that's why we're seeing now them basically becoming a third party, with the whole third party stuff. And I don't know. It's just the problem is I've said it for years. This is the new thing. I know I'm going on for a long time, Gables. I apologize, but it's frustrating to me. Where I think Game Pass could have succeeded and it could have been a big thing. People were really positive on it into the last few years, and it was really once the Activision stuff took off, and the thing changed. And it's now they're going I just don't know what it is that they can do to make something to be different, to change it. I don't think you can get rid of Game Pass now. I don't think it's a
oh no, that'd be the kiss of death for that system.
Yeah, you built your entire ecosystem around that. You put your stuff third party. I don't think you can just take that back now. I don't think you can all of a sudden hey, the next couple games we've already announced are coming to PlayStation and Switch or whatever. But after that, we're no everything. I don't think you can it's the cat's out of the bag. We've opened Pandora's box, and it's you can't I don't know what drastic changes can they make. Are they just gonna say fuck it and there's no longer gonna be the next Xbox console? We're just gonna become Sega at this point. And honestly, that's bad as well because you could be I have all the consoles, but PlayStation we don't feel good about PlayStation right now. The prices of everything is getting higher, and it's we're in the 6th year of these consoles and they've gotten more expensive, and they're probably gonna get more expensive over the next couple of years, even more as we talk about the Ramageddon and tariffs and all that. It's just gonna get more expensive, and I don't know. I've been ramming Gables. I apologize for a long time, but it's just so frustrating and it's just sad. And it's I love video games. It is I spent 6 months in 2024 stuck on my couch with after getting surgery, and gaming was the thing that kept me sane when I could not move. And the last 5 months I've been unemployed from getting laid off, and gaming is the thing that has kept me sane. We love video games. We literally do this podcast for 13 years for no money because we love video games. And it's just I know they're big corporations. Fuck Microsoft. I will always feel that way. Fuck Sony. I will always you don't need I will shit on companies for free. Major companies for free. I love to do it. It is one of my favorite things to do, to bitch about gigantic corporations and how they're fucking up everything for everybody else. But also, I understand that, hey, they're kind of important and we do need them for certain things. And they kind of control everything with the thing I love the most as far as entertainment, video games. If video games are doing well on the big end, people are more likely to invest in smaller things and indie titles and all that. And it just sucks. I just don't see a good path forward from here. And like I said, I'm not rooting against Asha here. I'm not rooting against Matt Booty here. I want all these companies to succeed and do well. And I mean, the dream is Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox are all thriving, because that just means that they're all making kick-ass games and they're competing with each other, and they got to make things more affordable for us. Because if the other one's doing well, they can't PlayStation can't just do whatever they want if Xbox is doing well. Same thing with Xbox and PlayStation or Nintendo. Um, I don't know. Gables, I apologize once again for the long ramble, but I kind of went off one here. It's 1 in the morning. I've been drinking beer. I apologize, but Gables, anything else you want to say before we move on out of this?
The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking no, because I think you touched upon all the different types of subjects and stuff for the topic itself.
Yeah. Well, I apologize, Gables. Um, well, Gables, let's move on to what we've been playing here, buddy. Do you want to? Do you want? I've been talking for a long time, Gables. I'm gonna let you go first, buddy.
All right. So I've been playing 2 games this week. I actually finished and beat my first game of the year. I beat Super Castlevania 4
Oh, nice.
finally after spending a good solid like week or two playing this game. It was a fun experience, obviously. It's been a while since I played through Super Castlevania 4, and quite honestly, I think it's back when I first got the Anniversary Collection on my PS5. So yeah, it's been a while. But at the same time, though, going through the classic levels, at last time we were recording, I was like at level like stage 8 or something. Stage 8, that one was an interesting level in of itself because it gets to the point inside of Super Castlevania 4 where some of the levels starting off with, okay, these ones are a little bit easy and stuff like that. They're meant to introduce you into that stuff. Then you have some bosses you encounter and stuff that can give you a little bit of issues. Like, say, there was this golem boss that I played, like that I fought against, and that one was kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass. And then it didn't really start increasing in terms of the difficulty for some of the stage navigation stuff until like right around like stage 7 and 8, because then I had to face off against bosses like this like these ghost dancer like boss. It's basically a ghost like a ghost couple, right? Just kind of like spinning around, dancing, just attacking you and shit. And there's all this ectoplasm stuff just shooting and stuff. But there's that, and there's also like this case of armor or something like that, this medieval armor that just breaks out of a case, and you have to try to defeat that thing and stuff. But oh my gosh. So once it got past stage 8, after multiple times of dying on the stage because trying to navigate around the different platforms and trying to make sure that I jump correctly in sort of certain spots. The reason why I'm saying that is because in some of the old school games, if you are not like pixel perfect on like a specific like platform and you try to jump, you're going to end up falling into a pit every single time you do it, or by accident hitting the pixel above you and stuff and falling directly to that. Because I did that quite a number of times as well. Alrighty, so after I passed stage 8, went through stage 9, it's basically kind of like a haunted sort of like treasure level, right? So I love the aesthetics of a lot of the levels inside of Super Castlevania 4. This one's one of my favorites because it's a lot of bright, vibrant colors and stuff like that. It's basically you have all the riches of say Dracula inside of his castle and stuff, and so he's got all these various little gold coins and everything else, these treasure chests, and then for aesthetic effect, you have these sort of like spirits or something like that raising out these shadows and stuff like that, and you're supposed to like jump upon like some of these treasure chests, right, to go onto these specific platforms, and these platforms are kind of like hung upon like these couple of chains, and so if you're not quick enough, you're going to break the chest and you're going to fall down onto the ground floor, right? So it took me a couple tries to get past that certain thing, and then finally, once I managed to get towards the end of the stage, facing off against this bat, right? But this giant bat is like entirely made of jewels, and so every time that you go through and you hit this bat, it starts shrinking a little bit here and there until finally it breaks off into 3 little miniature bats, and then you have to try to whip them so you're not going to get hit by them. And I almost died on this one because there was this one bat that was just right in the corner that I couldn't just get to it immediately because it kept just getting out of the way as soon as I would whip it. But then there was like this. Then when I was going further, there was the usual clock tower section or a level of a Castlevania game that generally goes like almost in every single Castlevania game. And the stage itself wasn't too bad, right? But when I got to the initial boss and stuff, I thought it was really hilarious because no matter how many times I've played through this game, it feels like certain bosses are meant to be kind of switched inside of like opposite levels here. Because for this clock tower, like boss, like this boss stage, right? You're on the hour and the minute hand of this big old clock, right? And then a boss comes in. It's the fucking mummy. And so this mummy is like it's like materializing on top of like the hour hand and stuff. And basically what you have to do is I just went to the corner right with a platform right before the stage goes there. I just crouched and I just started just wailing on him with freaking axes and stuff until finally I was able to kill him. And I'm thinking, oh Jesus criminy. Ah, doing that type of a boss right there. This would have been a boss level where you would have had the Grim Reaper because not only would it have been a lot more difficult to try to hit him because he's just throwing sickles at you while you're doing shit, but it would have been even harder to evade because you had to go through the jump back and forth between the hour and the minute hand, all this other stuff. And then finally, once I finished all of that and got past stage A, right before the whole boss gauntlet of Super Castlevania 4, that was one thing I forgot about after playing through this game a couple different times. That the last portions of this game is 4 boss battles in a row. But in between, you can actually heal up by getting like chicken meat and stuff. And in the case for Dracula, there's the right before you go onto a staircase to travel up and stuff. There's an invisible platform right down below, and so you can jump on this invisible platform, go down even further, and then all of a sudden you're hit with all of these hearts and stuff. So you max out your health, you max out your sub weapon things, and you actually get the full extent of the full maximum power ups and stuff for how many weapons you sub weapons you can throw at a time. So, needless to say, I had to take my time with this round of like boss battles because I kept dying on the same first boss over and over again. And the thing about it is, it's not overtly difficult, but it's hard sometimes to anticipate his lunge attack that he does. So, to give into perspective, the boss battles consist of Slogra, Gaibon, Death, and then you have Dracula as the final boss. So the first 2 bosses are the minions of the Grim Reaper and stuff, which you face as the third boss. When you play against Slogar first and foremost, he has a spear, and so he'll try to stab you with his spear and stuff. But if you hit him a certain way or you get too close to him, he starts to do a lunge attack. And so he doesn't hit you with the spear, he just does a friggin' lunge attack. It just whittles down a whole bunch of health. And once you do hit him, he goes up and he flashes right to the opposite side of you. And so my initial thing is try to do a bunch of the timing so I can hit him, go right back, then hit him again, go right back until finally I break his spear and then try to anticipate when he's going to lunge so I can jump on to these higher platforms to avoid some of his attacks. I finally did. And then when I went off to boss 2, I ended up dying on the first try. I'm like, fuck. And so going back to number 1, obviously taking care of boss number 1. Gaibon was, honestly, it was significantly easier. Granted, I did die a few times on his first form, but it wasn't as frustrating as the first boss, because all I really had to do was just spam a whole bunch of my axe sub weapon, and then finally he just goes from his original form and stuff, and then he goes into this hyper sort of state and stuff where he just glows red and stuff, and he just starts just waylaying fireballs at you and this and that, and so I had to literally not just spam a lot of different axes, but just get it to where once he sets down and tries to wind up, I can just do a couple extra hits so that way I can just whittle down this thing faster because I want to end the battle as quick as possible. Then once I finally beat him, the battle against Death, that one could be a bit of a pain in the ass because your first instinct when you face off against him is he's got like a slow setup, so you think you can get all these extra hits on him, but you keep forgetting that these 2 sickles keep on popping up as projectiles heading towards you, And so, before you know it, you've lost all of your health meter without even realizing it. Which, stupid me, that's what happened to me like at least 2 or 3 times, was I wasn't paying attention to my health bar as I'm hitting him. And so I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'm dead already? But the thing about it is, the major trick you have to remember, try to aim for the sickle, the projectiles first. When he does his setup, when he throws his big old sickle staff and stuff, and it starts to like go towards the corner, then progressively starts heading towards you and stuff like that. You could do like about 3, 4 hits and stuff, and then jump over the damn thing in order to get away from him. So after a couple different tries, end up being death, and then Dracula always is a pain in the ass because his first form usually will take the longest because you have to try to remember certain patterns of it. So he appears, he shoots 3 fireballs. You have to somehow hit his head and stuff, as well as get the fireballs without being hit. So that took a couple tries just to try to remember that. But finally, when we whittle him down, he goes and he does these 2 fire projectiles. So these 2 fire projectiles, they like have like faces on them and stuff, and they just seek towards you. So you have to hit them with a whip and destroy them before he pops up again, because he'll spawn another one if you're not careful. So finally, when you get towards at least the last 5 bars of his health, he transforms, really. And it's not like an epic transformation or something. It's basically he just has a whole bunch of this lightning like attacks and stuff. So when he pops up, you can hit him like once or twice, but you have to pay attention to where the lightning spawns and stuff, because it's literally like a thing of 5 projectiles falling down, so you have to be in between them, because if you're just a little bit off, it'll instant kill you. And at this point, I was at like a 2 or 3 health, so 1 hit and I'm dead. So I had to go through and use a bunch of save states just to rewind back, make sure I can get to that initial point again. And then finally, after about 4 to 6 tries, I end up beating Dracula. And so, beating Super Castlevania 4, I had a craving to play it. This is the time where I want to play more Castlevania games now because of the new one that's releasing this year, supposedly. But the other thing was, I was playing more of Pokemon Red, and I got some fun updates for this Pokemon Red playthrough. So I finally have the last member of my party. It's a Tentacool. I have Tentacool. He was at level 30. Basically, that's the same level when he evolved. So I just used 1 rare candy, and he evolved the Tentacruel. So his moveset right now is really cool because it's like you have one of the strongest water attacks, barring like Hydro Pump, with Surf. I taught him Ice Beam. He now knows Swords Dance. And he knows Wrap. Wrap is very important for this little move set, but it can be interchanged with either Takedown or Double Edge, which I could, even though it does chip damage to Tentacruel directly. I think I might as well just do it that way because it's going to be a massive freaking hit, or just teach him Hyper Beam or some shit. But yes, my team now consists of Beedrill, I like Venusaur, Golbat, Arbok, let's see, Nidoking, and now Tentacruel. So my poison team is pretty much complete. And I got the biggest heavy hitters here. So Nidoking, I finally went through, evolved him. He now knows Earthquake. He knows Double Kick. He has Horn Drill, and it's basically I have Horn Drill there. It's just because of a last case scenario. I can use this little trick that I learned here where if you use X accuracy and you use it while you're using Horn Drill, it's almost a guaranteed 1-hit KO for a Pokemon. And I didn't really know that type of glitch existed inside there until most recently. So yeah, it's one of those last case scenario fail-safe stuff. But as far as my progression, I'm at Saffron City inside of going through the Splitchco like company building, just taking out the last remnants of Team Rocket and stuff. I have 6 badges. I've got the first 4, obviously, like for Brock, Misty, Surge, Erica, and then I went ahead and got Koga's badge. And instead of going to Saffron after that initial one, I decided to go all the way to Cinnabar and clear out all the trainers surrounding that from the Seafoam Islands and stuff, all the way to inside the mansion and stuff. And I just took out Blaine with Tentacruel, because Tentacruel pretty much just ruled the entirety of that Cinnabar Island stuff, where all the Seafoam like island trainers that are surrounding that area for the water, I had Venusaur just take all of those ones out. So now I'm doing cleanup duty. I have 2 areas left. I have Saffron City, and now I have, after that, Viridian City. So I can take care of Giovanni as the last one. So far, this has been like about an 18-hour playthrough, which has been the longest Pokemon playthrough I've done for Red in quite a number of years. And that's because mostly I like doing like one Pokemon runs, where I either use like a single Pokemon, go through this various stuff. And normally the hardest one for me to kind of concentrate on is a full team. Well, because it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to go with a game that started it all. I'm going to just do a casual playthrough here, and I want to make a team of all poison-type Pokemon. And god damn it, yeah, I did it. I did that, and so I'm getting fairly close towards the end of the game. What I'm planning on doing here is once I do finish, I'm going to see where my team at is level-wise, and if it's not, like, say, in the mid-50s, I'm probably going to use the missing no glitch, where I go to the Safari Zone, then fly over, or something like that, and just go navigate to Cinnabar Island and stuff, and then whatever items in that 7 slot I'll maximize. I still have a few rare candies. I'm just going to go ahead and get all of my party to level 55. That's the cutoff here. I'm going to try the Elite Four and Champion from there. So that's my initial thing. That's kind of like what I did as a kid. I used Missing No in order to maximize certain items that I needed. But, yeah, that's pretty much it from what I've been playing this week.
All right. Well, cool. So I've been playing one franchise pretty much just all week. I did finish. I talked about a little bit last week. I played God of War Ghosts of Sparta, or no, Sons of Sparta. Sorry. And I did finish it up. Took me about 20 hours to complete. I think I finished with I was at 66%, I believe, with what I did. Most of the stuff I did was I found a lot of things that upgrade your your spirit level and your health and stuff like that. I'm not I talked about last week. I am not a gigantic 2D Metroidvania person at all. I just never have gotten into those style of games. Honestly, I was the only reason I was really playing this is because it is God of War. And I'm surprised about the amount. I've seen a decent amount of negativity around this game, and I'm surprised by that. I would say like I said, I'm not an expert at this style of game at all, but it's a good game. It's not. I don't think it's gonna revolutionize Metroidvanias at all. I know I do like the fact that, like I said, they use the Prince of Persia Lost Crown power, where you can take pictures of areas and it'll leave a screenshot on that section of the map, so you can pull it up so if you need to come back later when you unlock an ability. I love that stuff. I think the combat is really fun and stuff. You don't have the chains of Olympus. You have you have the spear. He's a teenager. I don't think the story's gonna wow you in any sort of way. It's just a teenager. Kratos before he becomes a gigantic asshole and has all his powers. But I had a fun time with it. It was kind of cool seeing some of these enemies and stuff like that from the God of War original trilogy, and now they're these 2D sprites. I enjoyed getting around. Once I was very frustrated early on with getting around, because there's only a handful of fast travel points, and the map is pretty big. But I'd say probably 70 or so, 75% of the way through the game, you finally unlock the ability to fast travel from each bonfire and save area. So that made a huge difference towards the end of the game, where I was all right, I'm getting close to the end. I want to do a little cleanup here and go over, and it made it so much easier. Cool, I can go back to these areas now and get there fairly quickly now. Now it's I'm only going over it's gonna take me a few minutes instead of like the biggest frustration is like the map is kind of is like it's very big, and like it takes a while to get through some of these areas sometimes. I don't know, like I think maybe 20 hours for like this game. Like I could have got through it. You can get through it faster if you could probably, if you want to like focus more on like just kind of mainlining, you could probably get done like 10, 12 hours. But I don't, like there's I can understand like the problem is like Metroidvania is probably like the most popular style of game that comes out nowadays from like indie games and like we talk about like Metroid Dread was like one of the best selling Metroidvania games ever, and I think it's actually the best selling Metroid game ever, and it sold like 2.5 million copies. So it's like it is that problem of like, hey, there's a lot of great ones coming out that probably look better, probably do some different things that you might like more. You maybe don't like the art style of this one. Definitely, I can understand if like you're looking at that new Castlevania game and you're looking at this, it's like, well, I'd rather play the Castlevania game. I can understand that. Like I said, I'm playing this because I'm a fan of the God of War franchise, and it was kind of fun from that. But I would say like it's in that kind of that no man's land here, where like you're not gonna maybe get a ton of new stuff out of this if you're a God of War fan. And like I guess like from hearing from people and stuff like that, it's not like this fantastic like, oh my god, this totally changes Metroidvanias, or this is the best ever Metroidvania either. So it's kind of in that weird like no man's land. And yeah, it's $30 too, which kind of hurts when there's like Silksong comes out earlier this year, it's $20 and everything. But like I said, I still think it's a good game. If you're a fan of God of War, like yeah, maybe check it out. Maybe wait for a sale if you're really that interested in it. But like I don't think it's like a game that you need to run out and play. But like I feel like some of the criticisms have been a little too harsh on it. But I don't like. It's one of those things where like I see some of the criticism out there. I can't fully disagree with it, a lot of it. But I still think it's still a good game. It's just that the problem is like being a 7 or a 7.5 in today's just entertainment as a whole. Being okay is just kind of not good enough anymore, I guess. But I don't know. I'm glad it exists, type of thing. I don't know. Call me weird. But the other thing I've been playing, oddly enough, and I told Gables about it. I played through. I was talking about last week. I was like, man, I kind of want to go play through the God of War games. I've talked about it over the years, where like the original God of War games. Like I played through like a good chunk of the original God of War back on PS2, like a decent amount of it. Then I played most of it on PS3 with the collection, and now with the state of or PlayStation Premium, what the fuck it's called nowadays. You could stream the PS3 games on your PS5. I did actually go through and I beat God of War HD. And Gables, I hated it. I did not like this game. I was very frustrated by this game. I say like it was fine. Obviously, like games have come a long way in 20 years. I was like, okay, this is like a decent. It's not like okay, this is a decent game. I can see why it didn't stick for me in like back in the day when it first came out. I had it on PS2 and like, it just didn't click for me. I can understand. Like I got to the point where like I knew exactly where I left off at on the PS3 version, and I was actually pretty close to the ending. And I finally just got pissed off, and I was like, "Fuck this game, I'm done." Is like there are 3 puzzles towards the end of the game that just are for. My biggest complaint with God of War 1 is the camera. The fixed camera angles. Okay. Like the fact that like, okay, there's like a puzzle, like not really a puzzle. There's an area where like you're walking on these beams, but there's like the fan going around, and you gotta like get past them. And like if the fan hits you, like you get knocked down, you die, you gotta start all over again. And it's pretty long. There's multiple sections. I think there's 3 sections. And it probably only takes you like 2 minutes to get through the whole area, but it took me like 20 minutes because the biggest problem. It's like, okay, I'm walking, and then the camera angle changes, and now the controls change. So now I'm like, and all it takes is like oh shit, like a tenth of a second or half a second here. I'm like, oh fuck, now up is left. It's like, oh shit, I got like, and like you kind of like, and then like you get hit and you're dead. You get knocked off. Like that happened to me. I was getting so fucking mad, and that was the point I said fuck this game. I remember like I actually looked at I had my trophies there from January of 2010, where I got to the point where I could just see the trophies ended, and I'm like, okay, this is exactly where I got pissed off and left. Then there was like another section towards the end of the game. I got really stuck at a certain point. I had to look it up because I couldn't figure out what the fuck. There's like these 2 necklaces you had to get to like unlock the next area, and I got the one, and I'm like, where the fuck is the other one? Well, I somehow did it out of order, and I skipped the whole first puzzle. and I went to the second one first. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So I look up like a walkthrough. I'm like, what? I'm like, how the fuck did I get like oh, I just jumped off this side area, not even realizing there was like a door I had to go through over here to do this first. And there's this like timing puzzle where you gotta like there's like these like spears that come out of the ground, but you gotta like you gotta like move something. You have a few seconds. You have like 10 seconds to like move this box around a corner, and then jump on it, then jump on a ledge before the spikes come up and kill you. It's instant kill. And I was getting so pissed off because once you go around the corner, you have like no fucking time. You have no wiggle room. And once the camera goes to like when you go around the corner, the camera changes, and now all the controls are opposite. So like every single like I probably died 30 times here of just like the same section over and over again. I was getting so fucking mad of just like as soon as that camera changed, like I'm like, oh fuck, I'm like, and then like you just like you kind of like spaz out, and then like well that like and then like you try to quickly like make up for the time, and then you just fuck up more, and then you double down and you die. That part was like pissing me off. And then the very last section, you go to hell, and you gotta get out of hell, and there's these two fucking like circular things that go around and around with a bunch of fucking blades on it, and they're tall, and it's a pretty long climb actually. And if you get hit once, you get knocked all the way down to the bottom again. I spent 45 minutes, 45 fucking minutes on these. I finally conquered the one. It took me like 35 minutes probably to do the first one. Because I kind of figured out a trick. I'm like, okay, all right, I got it now. I was able after like probably like 10 minutes of like trying it out, figured out a system to like get up to this. And I finally did it. And I'm like, thank fucking God. And I get up. There's a second one. I'm like, are you shitting me? And I finally worked my way through. I did beat that. I don't want to take me very long because I wish I figured out like a kind of a workaround to like get it. It didn't take me very long. But yeah, it was very frustrating. But I was like, okay, this game's fine. I can understand why I didn't like it back in the day. And then those three puzzles in the last like, it's literally like those last puzzles are like the last third of the game, like they're in. But everything else before that was fine. I'm like, okay, this is like a fine game. But now, Gables, I'm almost done with God of War 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I will say I actually like this one a lot more. It just feels like, oh, cool. We like it's one of those things. It's like the thing we talk all the time. Like most games back in the day, you look at the first game, you know, like, oh my God, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the second game, they build upon it and it gets better. It's something we don't really have anymore in video games. You know, it's like you go from like Assassin's Creed 1 to 2, you know, it's like, oh my God, this game is so much better. Or Uncharted 1 and 2 or whatever. I always use those examples, but it's like, oh my God, they just figured out like the gameplay's better and all that. I actually, the story's a little more entertaining because I feel like the first story is like whatever. I'm like, I don't like it. People thought this game was great. I don't okay, I don't get it. But anyways, yeah, I'm doing all that. I'm gonna try to beat God of War 2 here, because you know Resident Evil Requiem and all that's coming out next week, so I want to get that done here. But I got a week to do that, so I'll do that. And the games, the nice thing is like I think God of War 1 took me like 7 hours, and I'm like 4 hours into this game, and I kind of looked it up, and I'm like a little past the halfway point on the God of War 2, so shouldn't be too hard to get those games done, hopefully. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. We're a little longer this week, but hey, hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back here. Check it out in a few days here. We'll be doing a Pokemon prediction show where we're actually recording that here in a few seconds, but it'll be a few days for you. But if you guys like the show, like what we do, please like, follow, subscribe. Check us out on that. Look out for that new episode here in a few days. And then, hey, check back on Friday morning. I will have a live react to Pokemon Day, the 30th anniversary, all that. So I was host. I was Tyler.
I've been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the DrunkNerds Podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet?
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.